A very happy welcome to each of you to this episode of My Avatar, My Identity, a series where we take you on a journey along with us into exploring the identities of many, many different personalities and people. A scholar, a professor, an award winning author of bestsellers. She is a woman whose own experiences as a first generation immigrant translated into the powerful characters that she wrote. Her books are hard to miss. Bestsellers like Palace of Illusions, Mistress of Spices, Sister of My Heart, and the soon to be launched The Last Queen. Yes, we have for you today Miss Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, all the way from Houston, Texas. A wonderful welcome to you, dear Chitra, all the way from Houston. You're joining us this evening for the My Avatar, My Identity show. Thank you so much, and it's wonderful having you with us.
Thank you so much. And I am so happy to be here with you today.
And with that,
Thank you.
I'm going to, kick off the first question of this evening, today, and which is the women protagonists of your novels. They are a class apart. Um, is it in some way autobiographical?
That's a great question. The short answer is no, because
Okay.
my life is very ordinary and not full of adventures as my women protagonists' lives are. But I think when I write, I get very deeply into them. In order to write their lives, I have to live it in my imagination.
Actually, you have touched upon a very important aspect of the work that we at Avatar do, and this is empathy. What you just spoke about, empathy. Did you always have this empathy even as a child?
No, actually, when I was growing up, I never thought I would become a writer. I always thought I would become a teacher because my
Okay,
mother was a teacher and she was a great role model.
okay.
But it was only after moving to the United States and becoming an immigrant that I became a lot more empathetic towards what was going on around me and the stories, especially of the immigrant women. And that is how I started my writing, by writing about the challenges and the joys of immigration and being an immigrant woman, particularly an Indian immigrant woman in America. In the early years, as with everybody, when I had been in India, I had been in a very protected environment,
Uh,
as many families do with their daughters. But after I went to the US, I was living for the first time on my own, working, trying to make money to go to college. And all of those were new and difficult experiences. And I saw others around me having similar problems.
mm.
And as I said, it's not all negative, but it was a very emotionally up and down time. And I think I definitely looked at the stories of the women around me and channeled that into my writing, and also so that I didn't feel all alone. Writing for me is and was a sense of a way in which I could create community.
Oh my God, that's just so beautiful. In your case, Chitra, especially the kind of creative energy, the fire that you're channelizing into your books, which makes each one of them a bestseller. Um, in this interplay, in this intersectionality, which identity actually rules?
It's interesting because when I write, it's as though all my identities go away. My personal identities have to actually be removed if I am to imagine another life without my prejudgments and my prejudices. I have to take a back seat. And over the years of writing, I recognize something that is very wonderful and humbling, which is that the stories come from somewhere else. They come from somewhere deep inside. I'm really just the channel. My job is to be as clear and honest a channel as I can.
You've had India's pride, Aishwarya Rai, actually portray one of the characters in the Mistress of Spices, actually the lead character. How did it feel to have an icon like her, portray one of your creations? What did it,
It was
mean for
very
you?
exciting. I remember being in the movie theater. It was being premiered in Toronto, and they had invited me to the show. And it
Okay.
was very exciting to see the different form that your art takes when it gets on the big screen. And
Oh,
so, yeah, it was a very wonderful moment. It also made me realize something, that once you write the book, and it's out there in the world, it's no longer yours. It
oh.
belongs to everybody who reads it. And when the movie is made, that belongs to the director. So I learned also not to try and be, I don't know, possessive about the version in the movie, but to be accepting of it.
Every single woman protagonist that you have portrayed is a woman who actually battles through the many the myriad challenges that life throws at her, and then finally she kind of owns her identity. There is a certain resilience, there is a certain never say die attitude while going through all those experiences. And in truth, women, Indian women, especially women who are seeking to juggle several things: marriage, children, career, home, personal and professional identities, they seem to actually need this resilience. So can you share with us how you saw, for instance, Draupadi in the Palace of Illusions as being the kind of character that you portrayed? I mean, she was so modern. One could never even imagine that she was from the Mahabharata. She was as contemporary as you or me. So, what was that process? What was in your mind when you created that Draupadi?
Well, I think I think you have really hit upon what I intended, which is, first of all, I saw and I believed that these characters out of our mythology, out of our epics, they really are timeless. Great literature is timeless. It speaks to all of us right here, right now. And that's exactly what I wanted to do with Draupadi, to show that she was modern and current, and all of those challenges that she was juggling. Okay, it was in a particular context, but the kind of challenges that she had to face and overcome were exactly the ones that all of us are going through. And part of it was her understanding who she was in the world. And two other things: what she could do and what she could not change. Because I think in order to be effective, one has to have a realistic vision of what is our place in our society and ways in which maybe that current place can be changed for the better. Because that's what Draupadi always did. She pushed against boundaries. But then there would be things that came at her: the war, the tragedies of the war. She couldn't do anything about them, but she could control how she responded to them. And that to me was the great lesson that Draupadi taught me and Sita taught me. We can't control what happens to us in life always, because those are external forces. But what we do with them, definitely in our control. How we feel about them, whether we let them define us or not, that is definitely in our control.
Actually brings me to something that all our every one of our viewers would be very excited to know about, which is the launch of your next new book, The Last Queen. Oh my God, there she is. Oh, fabulous. Thanks for sharing that with us, Chitra. This is delightful. So tell us about The Last Queen.
Well, I'm very excited to be bringing this book to my readers.
Yeah.
This has been my first really adult historical novel. I
Uh-huh.
wrote one sometime back for children called Victory Song. It
Okay.
was about the Indian independence movement and how children were involved in it. But this one is about the life of Rani Jindan Kaur, who was
Okay.
the wife of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. and the
Okay.
mother of Maharaja Dalip Singh. And
Okay.
Maharaja Dalip Singh was the last king of Punjab. So, as Queen Regent, she is the last queen of Punjab. And it is a very inspiring and I hope human story of how she fought against the British, but also against the men of her court who did not want her to be in power in the court. She broke a lot of taboos. She dispensed with the veil. She came and sat in open court and
Oh,
got involved in how the kingdom was run. And she went and addressed the Khalsa army, who were so respectful of her that they called her the mother of the Khalsa. And ultimately, she fought against the British. And even when she was imprisoned, she didn't give up. She had that kind of courage in adversity. She managed to escape from prison. And then her life goes on. She does other things after that, even when she is in really bad health, has no money.
oh,
Anyone else would have given up, but Jindan does not give up. And that is what really, I don't know, that really spoke to me, that really inspired me to tell her story. I thought, especially for us women, to look at that kind of courage in adversity. It's really timely, it's really wonderful, and I hope it's really inspiring.
I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to get my hands on. I'm an old fashioned reader. I like the hard copy book. I'm not a Kindle reader, so I'm just waiting to, get my hands on your book. And I hope someday I will get your autograph on it too. We know of the extent of work that you do to support women who undergo domestic violence and abuse. We just wanted you to share a few thoughts on this line of work that you do and the kind of causes that you support, Chitra.
Thank you. I think the two things that have been really important for me to try and support one is how to help women who have been in situations of domestic abuse. And the other one is a more preventive one, which is the education of children, especially girls, and job training for them.
Oh,
So, women who are survivors of domestic violence or who are trying to get out of situations of domestic violence and start a new life for themselves with a new job, maybe life in a different city where they can be away from the abuser. As a society, we speak up loudly enough. At least, at the very least, what we will do is we will influence positively the lives of younger women who, getting into a relationship, before they get into one, will realize what is not okay in this relationship. What are some things that I really have to stand my ground on and say, no, no compromises.
absolutely. Very, very true. I only wish that we will have an opportunity to host you in person in India whenever you should make that trip. And once all this, pandemic stuff subsides, we really hope we'd be able to host you sometime and we'd be able to share the amazing thoughts that you expressed here with a much larger audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was a great conversation, and I loved all your questions. They were so deep and they were so wise. This is my avatar, my identity, and I want to wish all of you out there a very, very happy and auspicious 2021 filled with joy and courage and a belief in that power which guides us through our lives. Thank you.
What a beautiful conversation that was. I took away an enormous sense of centeredness, of positivity, of the ability to be able to negate yourself while giving idea, giving energy, and giving life to the characters that one creates. That was the quintessential Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni for me on this episode of My Avatar, My Identity. Dear viewers, this episode actually brings us to the end of season 1 of My Avatar, My Identity. We have brought you 12 episodes in this season 1 of interactions with philanthropists, with CHROs, with CEOs, writers, authors, influencers, people who come from very, very different identities, who all are connected by that one common purpose of living to the fullest of their potential and being successes in whatever they choose to do. As we rejig our model for season 2, we hope you will join us and stay connected on this channel and continue to like, subscribe, and share with whatever we want to present to you. And we hope that you will enjoy everything that you see and continue to be with us on this journey. Thank you and take care.